the reason we're on this planet is to do our work, whatever that is, whatever our part is, to play our part in this giant symphony. When it goes from the thing you love to the thing you do for work, it's an issue. We can live in a way where we're living in an artful way, where we're engaged and paying attention, making each choice count, or we can live almost like sleepwalking through the day. In service to the audience, they have to come last. Yeah. If we're trying to make it for them, it won't be the best thing it can get. It'll water it down. The process of making something for someone else undermines it.
Many people approach art with a hidden agenda, the desire to be accepted. But when approval becomes the mission, the art loses its soul. The need for acceptance is also present in everyday life. What's ironic is that acceptance comes most naturally when we stop trying to please and simply allow ourselves to be who we are.
People like to be accepted. People want to be accepted. And I'm suggesting in the book that the best way to be accepted is to be yourself. It's not to change yourself to what someone else thinks. First of all, you don't really know what someone else thinks. And if you're not genuine to yourself, there's like nothing is there. It's just a projection or a mask. It's not true. And there's something about authenticity. The only way we can learn anything is through the reality of seeing what's around us and learning there are these different points of view around us. If we're all thinking the same thing, it's boring. Why would we make anything if everyone thinks the same thing? What makes us interesting are the differences. And even the imperfections. You know, you may hear a song about someone who has terrible heartbreak, and you may not be experiencing terrible heartbreak. But hearing them honestly talk about a human experience, even one that we're not having, can make us cry, can make us resonate with them, can give us a better understanding of the world.
Absolutely.
And we're not all everything, you know, we're all only us. Each of us is ourselves.
What makes art beautiful is the unique perspective we have on the world as individuals. There is no right or wrong way to see the world. Just like there is no right or wrong way to create art, make decisions, or live life. We are all expressions of the universe, and the most important thing we can do is express ourselves authentically.
I don't know what other people are going to think. I can't know what other people are going to think. But this is how I see it. And I want to show you how I see it. That's my purpose here on the planet, is to show you how I see it. And then I want to see how you see it. And where do they line up and where are they different? And that's how we make sense of the world. We all have a story. We all have something to say, and we can all learn from each other. And it comes from each of our life experiences, which are different. We each have our own family origin story. We each have our own places that we grew up, the things that we saw. We could go and do the same thing together and then get back and discuss what we saw and see two completely different things. And it's not like one of us is right and one of us is wrong. We're just noticing different things. There's so many data points to take in, and we each take in the ones that speak to us.
Everything Rick is saying boils down to one common message: follow your inner guide.
Don't do things just because you think you're going to get something for it. That's not why we do things.
Yeah.
Do what's interesting to you. Follow what's interesting. Don't worry about the outcome.
Yeah.
We don't know. We can't predict the outcome. We can never predict the outcome. Follow your own inner guide. It directs us. It might not make sense. It might not make sense to us. Might not make sense to anyone else. Certainly won't make sense to anyone else. But it might not even make sense to us. And that's okay. Listen to yourself. Why is it telling you this?
So many of us silence that quiet voice inside, the one that already knows the way. And when we ignore it, we create struggles that were never meant to exist. But why do we do this to ourselves? Rick suggests that it is because we don't realize we are in control of our own lives. We make decision after decision in fear of an outcome that may not even exist, when in reality, the life we want is waiting on the other side of trust.
We are in control of our own lives. We often don't realize we're in control, and we can make different choices. And if the things in our life are not bringing us joy and happiness, if our career that we've devoted all of our lives to isn't bringing us joy, we can change them. If we decide our relationship is not the right relationship, we don't have to suffer in that relationship. We have our own power and we can make a change, and it takes courage. But it's in everyone's best interest for us to take care of ourselves, to be in a relationship or in a job where you're phoning it in because you think it's your responsibility to do the job. There's probably someone who would do that job with passion and bring more to it than you are. And if you feel depressed and you can't manage the life you're in, you can go move to another part of the world. You can live on a beach. There's so many options available to us that we don't, we're stuck in our small story of who we are and what our lives are. And it's all a choice. And we have the power to change it. Anything in our lives that doesn't give us joy, we can change, and we can find the version that suits us. And it's not only in service to us, it's ultimately what's best for everyone.
There's a common illusion that taking control of our lives requires us to be someone extraordinary. The same illusion often surrounds the act of creating art.
I think there's a mythology that the people who make things that we love are special people, and that we think that they're, the people on Mount Olympus, and they're these magic people who are geniuses, and then there's the rest of us. And that's not the case. It's like we're all just people. We're all doing our best. We all are good at some things, not good at other things. We're humans. And sometimes we find a way to make something beautiful. But that's it. There are no special people, really. We're all special.
Sometimes people spend their entire lives chasing recognition, trying to achieve something big enough to finally feel worthy. They think that once they hit that peak, all their problems will disappear. This was not the case for Rick.
My first memory of outward success came when the first Beastie Boys album, Licensed to Ill, was the #1 album in the country. The call came, how do you feel? You have the #1 album in the country. And I remember saying, I've never been more unhappy in my life. And I think we mistakenly think some kind of outward success is going to change something in us, and it does not. It may make life more comfortable, but it doesn't change who we are. Let's say you spend 20 years of your life working towards a goal that's going to solve everything. And then you finally achieve what you've been trying to do for 20 years, toiling away. I won't have any fun because I'm working for 20 years for this end. And then you get that end and nothing changes. That's when you get hopeless. So it's not uncommon to see very successful artists who are very unhappy in life because they're working towards the thing that's going to make them feel better. And it does not make them feel better. We don't know what's going to make us happy. We're trying to fill something that maybe can't be filled through material or cultural success. It's something else. It's some internal thing.
Many people believe that happiness comes from external achievements. Yet when we look inward, we discover that true purpose arises from within. There's also a widespread misconception that living that purpose is tied to career milestones. However, this is not the case.
Maybe your job is your job, and the job is the thing that supports you. And then the rest of your waking hours are devoted to your purpose, whatever that is. I would say if you need to have a job to support yourself, that's great. That's a noble thing to do. And follow your dreams. But I'm not saying they're one thing.
Yes.
They don't have to be one thing. And don't let following your dreams undermine your ability to support yourself. It could actually do the opposite. If you decide, I want to be a comedian and I'm putting all my eggs in the comedian basket and I'm going to be a comedian, the pressure of having to support yourself will change you as a comedian, not for the better. You want the stability of being able to take care of yourself in the world, to be free to do whatever your passion is. whatever it is.
Do you play instruments?
Barely.
Do you know how to work a soundboard?
No, I have no technical ability, and I know nothing about music. Knowing how it works isn't what makes it work. Isn't the magic of it isn't how it works. The magic is the magic. Coming up with a story with the purpose of pleasing someone else is a skill set. It's more of a commercial endeavor than an artistic endeavor. And the call came, how do you feel? You have the #1 album in the country. And I remember saying, I've never been more unhappy in my life.
So what are you being paid for?
The confidence that I have in my taste and my ability to express what I feel has proven helpful for artists.
Rick Rubin is a creative genius. He's produced a vast variety of artists, including the Beastie Boys, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Eminem, Adele, and even Johnny Cash. With a track record like his, he is arguably one of the most influential music producers of all time. Although known for his music production, his recent book, The Creative Act, has garnered huge attention. The subtitle of the book is A Way of Being, and I can't think of a better way to describe Rick's creative relationship with the universe. Here he compares the creative process of life to riding a wave.
The universe is pushing us in a direction, and we can ride with that energy. And like when you're surfing, if you really try to fight the wave, it's probably not going to work. We try to use the power of the wave where we're almost dancing with the wave, not against the wave. And that's the work of creativity as well. Certain projects come together very easily, and they happen quickly, and they have a momentum to them, and others are a real fight. Sometimes we fight that fight, and other times we decide, is there a path of less resistance around this? Is there a better way in? Let's rethink, well, if it's so hard, something's up. Not supposed to be so hard. Again, it's wildly time-consuming, takes a great deal of focus, takes patience. But if there are no signs that something's working for a long time, that might be a time to step back, step away.
Rick speaks of the things we make as reflections of our being. No one will create the same thing as someone else. He mentions the importance of staying true to yourself, letting your ideas flow through you, and being sure not to compare yourself to others in the process.
The things we make are a reflection of who we are in this moment. And that's all it is. It can go on and mean more than that, but that's not in our control. And it's something that cripples artists, thinking, I have to make the greatest thing ever made to humankind, and then they basically psych themselves out of being able to make something good. They give in to the pressure of thinking it's more than it is. We all imagine such different worlds, and it's why if we don't make the thing we want to make, if someone else's antenna is more tuned to ours, and they pick up the same source material, the thing they make, it's not going to be the same thing we would make. No one can do our part. There's a great benefit in taking a risk, making the thing that's interesting to you, sharing it with the world, because if you don't do it, nobody else will. You're the only one who can make the art that you can make. And it's not in competition with anyone else. There is no competition. There's no competition who has a better picture in their head. It's a reflection of you. Everything that you make is a reflection of who you are. And how you live in the world will impact the things that you make. And I wish the best of luck on the journey in making beautiful things that we can all enjoy.
And audiences have enjoyed Rubin's work. With an immense amount of listeners worldwide, I am curious how he views the audience and what kind of influence they might have on his work.
The audience comes last in service to the audience. The audience wants the best thing. They don't get the best thing while you're trying to service them. They get the best thing when you're servicing yourself, when you're true to who you are. And the more you can trust yourself as an artist,
in my case, every decision I've made, from working in a different genre than I started in, every time I do something different or new, I'm always told not to do it. I'm always told it's a terrible idea. But I know it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. I know what I know, and my job is to share what I know. That's all I can do. Right. I can't second guess myself. Steve Jobs said, famously, the consumer doesn't know what they want.
Until you make it.
Yeah.
Despite his success, Rick has suffered from depression over the years. He got to a point in his 30s when it seemed like all hope was lost, although what appeared to be a closed door led to an awakening experience in Malibu.
I've suffered with depression at different times in my life. The mystical piece was, in the throes of the depression, one of the things that would help me, I would drive to Malibu, and we had a little house, a tiny little shack on the beach, and that I was renting, and I would sit in that house, and usually I would get some of the heaviness would lift. So one day I went to Malibu, nothing, listened to classical music, relaxed, meditated for hours, did all the things that would help get me out, and nothing got me out, and I was devastated. And in that moment of hopelessness, I prayed, universe, please give me a sign. Please give me a sign to go on, because I don't think I can go on. Please give me a sign. And I walked out to the beach, which was something I never did, or rarely did. I walked out to the beach, and I'm standing out on the beach, and in 1 minute, the entire sky turned into the most dramatic, orange, wild, biblical painting. I've never seen anything like it up till that moment, never seen anything like it since. I walk out, I experience that. It blows my mind. I feel like my answer is, I'm being spoken to.
Uh-huh.
And then within a minute, gone back to normal blue sky. I felt less alone. I felt like I could, my cry for help was heard. And I felt connected. And that felt really good.
Taking from his mystical experience, Rick mentions that the answers to our problems don't all come from inside of us. If we remain conscious, we can find solutions by simply being open to the influence of the outside world.
It's helpful to know the information we need doesn't all come from inside of us. Maybe none of it comes from inside of us. Maybe it all comes from outside of us. And whether that be mystical, physical, or practical, I've had experiences where I'm looking for an answer for something, curious, holding it lightly in my consciousness, not working on it, just I know there's this problem to be solved, and then I'll be out and something will happen in the world directly related to answer the question. It doesn't happen once in a while, it happens all the time. If you're open to the communication, we're getting information all the time. There's so much more information coming at us than we can digest that we pick and choose unconsciously certain data points, and then based on those data points, we make up a story about what happens. It's different for everybody. There's so much wisdom all around us all of the time, coming in the form of nature, the culture, people speaking at a coffee shop, overhearing a conversation. If you're open and if you're paying attention, and I would even go further to say, and if you invite it, it might work even better. I don't know if that's true, but why not? And because of the subtle nature of the information that we're looking for, it's not getting shouted at us. It's the thing that if you weren't really quiet and really paying attention, you would likely miss. So we have to quiet ourselves, and we have to live in this constant state of looking for clues, looking for information. What can I learn? What shapes align? Where are their connections? If I look deeper, what's happening? That's the practice.
Yeah.
And there are some suggestions of things that you can do to get there. For me, meditation is the key. It may not be everyone's. That's the other point of this, is we all function in different ways. We each have to find what works for us and try things and see what works.
There's certain choices we make in life that most people wouldn't view as being creative decisions, as well as people we meet that we wouldn't necessarily consider artists. But Rick has the intriguing view of simple everyday tasks being creative choices, with these choices contributing to a bigger universal picture devised by artists.
All of us make creative choices every day of our lives. We've driven the same route every day and we decide to take the scenic route. That's a creative choice. If we're paying attention, and if you happen to notice something that day on the scenic route that you didn't notice before, and that ends up helping you in the thing that you're working on, maybe it's a coincidence, but when you come to expect it to happen, it happens all the time. Be prepared to be awestruck and surprised on a regular basis by things that you would never imagine happening. Also, you feel like you're part of this bigger thing. We think of ourselves as the conductor, but we're not the conductor. We're an orchestra member being conducted. And we're part of this bigger thing that's going on, and it works like clockwork. Every one of us plays part, and we all have our part to play. So when someone says, I'm not artistic or I'm not good at art, it'd be like saying I'm not a good monk. There is no such thing as not a good monk. You're either living your life as a monk or you're not living your life as a monk. Monks aren't good or bad. You're either doing a monk or you're not doing a monk. And we all live as artists, but we don't know it. And there are things we can do to amplify the artistic side of ourselves that will make everything we do better. Everything. Your relationships, your ability to communicate, your ability to listen, your joy of life, your feeling of connection, your ability to commune with nature. It's like taking off blinders.